Ladies and gentlemen, imagine the moon on a still night, its light touching the earth softly, yet never fully revealing itself. The moon, in its quiet majesty, knows the power of what it withholds. In the same way, a woman carries within her a universe of mysteries, secrets not of deception, but of wisdom, strength, and self-preservation. Let this mystery be the light of wisdom, the strength, and self-preservation. Today, I invite you to reflect on the idea that there are certain things a woman must always hide from a man, not to create distance, but to preserve the sacred essence of who she is. These hidden treasures are not about walls, but boundaries, not about exclusion, but balance. They are the elements of life that remind us all of the beauty and power of mystery. Shall we dive into this journey together? Imagine a vast, untouched forest where the air is thick with the scent of earth and the whispers of unseen life. This forest holds secrets, not out of fear or selfishness, but because its very essence depends on the mystery it guards. In the same way, a woman's life is a tapestry woven with threads of wisdom, intuition, and experience, some of which must never be fully unraveled. The power of mystery lies in its ability to command respect, to draw people in without giving everything away. It is not about creating barriers, but rather maintaining the sacred space that allows for growth, self-discovery, and individuality. When we talk about hiding something, it is easy to misunderstand the intent. It is not about deceit or manipulation. It is about recognizing that not everything sacred must be shared. A woman's strength, in its truest form, often resides in her ability to know what to reveal and what to keep for herself. Imagine trying to explain the magic of a sunrise to someone who has never seen one. Words will fall short, and the explanation might even diminish its beauty. Some things are meant to be experienced and protected, not dissected. A woman must preserve the core of her strength, for it is her compass through the unpredictable terrain of life. Strength does not always roar, it is often silent, a quiet resilience that allows her to rise after every fall. This strength is multifaceted. It is the ability to nurture while enduring, to remain soft while carrying the weight of the world, to laugh when her heart is heavy. Yet this strength is not always for everyone to see or understand. Some will look upon it and fail to appreciate it. Others might try to exploit it. By keeping it partially veiled, she ensures it is never taken for granted or diminished. Equally important are her vulnerabilities. They are not weaknesses, but the delicate, raw parts of her being that make her human. These vulnerabilities are the source of her empathy, her ability to connect deeply with others. But not every heart is kind, and not every hand is gentle. Sharing these sacred parts of herself with someone who cannot cherish them is like exposing a flame to the wind. It risks being extinguished. In knowing when and with whom to share her vulnerabilities, she safeguards the fire within her. Then there is the matter of her dreams, her aspirations, her infinite potential. A woman's dreams are like seeds planted in fertile soil. They need time, care, and the right environment to grow. Not all dreams are meant to be broadcasted, and not all aspirations should be shared too soon. When a dream is still tender and new, exposing it to the world can invite doubt or criticism, which may stunt its growth. By holding some of her aspirations close, she protects them until they are strong enough to stand on their own. And so, this balance between openness and restraint is not just a skill, but an art. To be open is to connect, to invite others into your world. To be restrained is to honor the parts of yourself that are too precious for the casual gaze. It is not about withholding for the sake of power, but about choosing how to share yourself in ways that uplift and preserve your essence. In every interaction, there is an unspoken dance between what is shared and what is kept. A woman who masters this dance radiates an aura of intrigue and strength that commands respect. This principle of mystery does not diminish relationships, it enhances them. It creates space for curiosity, for discovery, for the kind of deep respect that grows when two people understand that they are not here to possess each other, but to witness each other. In hiding certain things, a woman invites those around her to approach her with care and reverence. She reminds us all that the most valuable treasures are often hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed by those who are truly worthy. A woman who understands the power of what she withholds is like the moon. She offers her light generously, but never fully reveals her shadowed side. She keeps some parts of herself tucked away, not out of fear, but because she knows their value. And in doing so, she teaches us all a profound lesson, that to preserve the mystery of life is to honor its deepest truths. For in that mystery lies the beauty that keeps us searching, growing, and awakening to the wonder of existence. She who believes in the wonder of existence becomes wise and awakening to the wonder of existence. We all need this wonder of existence. We all need to remember the mystery of life is to honor its deepest truths, for in that mystery lies the beauty that keeps us searching, growing, and awakening to the wonder of existence. She who knows the truth grows and awakening to the wonder of existence. The true essence of strength is often hidden in places we cannot see, yet its presence shapes everything around it. For a woman, her strength is a quiet, enduring force that manifests in her ability to adapt, nurture, and persevere. It is not the loud declarations of power that define her, but the subtle ways in which she carries the weight of the world while still making space for love, laughter, and grace. Strength is a paradox, visible yet unseen, delicate yet unyielding, and within this paradox lies its most profound truth. It does not always need to be displayed. Yes. Strength is a paradox, lies its most profound truth. It does not always need to be displayed. To understand why a woman might hide her strength is to acknowledge the world in which she lives. Strength can be intimidating to those who do not understand it, and it can invite attempts to control or diminish it. But strength is not something to be diminished. It is to be safeguarded. A woman who holds her strength close does so not out of fear, but out of wisdom. She knows that strength is most powerful when it is not flaunted, when it is used with intention rather than as a spectacle. Her strength, when concealed, becomes an unshakable foundation, a wellspring she can draw from when needed, without ever exhausting it in the gaze of others. At the same time, there is an undeniable beauty in vulnerability. To be vulnerable is to be open, to embrace the tender aspects of life that remind us of our humanity. For a woman, her vulnerabilities are not signs of weakness, but of authenticity. They are the places where her heart beats most freely, where her love is most profound, where her fears and hopes coexist. Yet these are the parts of herself that must be protected, for they are also the places where she is most susceptible to harm. When a woman shares her vulnerabilities, she is offering something precious, a part of her soul that cannot be replaced. But not everyone she encounters will understand the weight of such a gift. Some will see it as an opportunity to dominate, others as a chance to exploit. And so a woman must learn to discern, to recognize who is worthy of seeing her in her rawest, truest form. Vulnerability, when shared with care and intention, deepens connections and builds trust. But when exposed without thought, it risks being misused or misunderstood. By holding her vulnerabilities close until the right moment, a woman ensures that they remain a source of strength rather than a point of pain. There is also a deep wisdom in keeping her dreams and ambitions guarded. Dreams are delicate things, born in the quiet corners of the heart where imagination and hope intertwine. When they are new, they are like seedlings, needing protection from harsh winds and unkind hands. To share a dream too soon is to expose it to the risk of doubt, criticism, or even sabotage. How sabotage? A woman who understands this nurtures her dreams in silence, allowing them to grow strong roots before she shares them with the world. This is not to say that she should always keep her aspirations hidden, but rather that she should choose carefully when and with whom to share them. There is immense power in allowing her dreams to unfold in their own time, without the interference of outside opinions. When she does reveal them, it is not from a place of seeking validation, but from a place of strength, knowing that her dreams are hers to shape and pursue. In all of this, there is a profound balance between what is revealed and what is hidden. A woman who embraces this balance understands that life is not a stage for constant display, but a journey of discovery and connection. By keeping some parts of herself concealed, she preserves her inner sanctuary, a space where she can reflect, grow, and find solace. She does not hide out of fear, but out of respect for herself and the sacredness of her being. The act of withholding is not an act of isolation, but of preservation. It is a reminder that some things are too valuable to be shared indiscriminately. In choosing what to share and what to keep, a woman honors the complexity of her existence. She becomes a living paradox, open yet reserved, strong yet tender, transparent yet mysterious. And in doing so, she embodies the wisdom that life's most profound truths are often found in what remains unseen. End footnote. Dreams are among the most profound aspects of human existence. They are the silent architects of our future, the whispers of possibility that shape the course of our lives. For a woman, her dreams are not just aspirations, they are expressions of her deepest self, her vision for what could be, and her belief in what she can become. Yet these dreams, as precious as they are, require a unique kind of care, a quiet nurturing that allows them to grow without being suffocated by doubt or distraction. When a woman dreams, she enters a sacred space within herself, a place where her imagination and intuition converge. This space is not meant to be invaded or exposed prematurely. The world, with its noise and opinions, has a way of challenging dreams before they are ready to take flight. Criticism, skepticism, and even well-meaning advice can become obstacles if a dream is revealed too soon. It is in the silence of her own heart that a woman learns to listen to the voice of her dreams, to trust their unfolding, and to give them the strength they need to emerge into the world. There is immense power in keeping a dream close, in guarding it like a flame in the wind. A woman who understands this does not share her aspirations with everyone, for she knows that not everyone will understand their significance. Some may dismiss her dreams as unrealistic, while others may attempt to reshape them according to their own expectations. But a dream is a deeply personal thing, and it loses its purity when it is subjected to external forces before it is fully formed. By holding her dreams in sacred confidence, a woman allows them to grow in their own time, becoming stronger and more resilient with each passing day. This act of quiet nurturing is not a sign of secrecy or selfishness. It is a testament to the wisdom of patience. A dream, like a seed, needs the right conditions to thrive. It requires a period of incubation, a time when it is shielded from the harsh elements of the outside world. During this time, a woman can reflect on her dreams, refine them, and prepare herself to bring them to fruition. When the time comes to share them, she does so with confidence and clarity, knowing that they are no longer fragile, but ready to withstand whatever challenges may arise. But dreams are not the only treasures a woman must guard. There is also a profound importance in preserving her sense of self, her unique identity, and the essence of who she is. In a world that often seeks to define people by external standards, a woman's ability to remain true to herself is a revolutionary act. This authenticity is not something that can be easily understood or appreciated by everyone, It is a delicate balance of strength and vulnerability, confidence and humility, individuality and connection. To protect her sense of self, a woman must learn to set boundaries, not as walls to keep others out, but as guidelines for how she wishes to be treated. These boundaries are not about exclusion, they are about self-respect. They allow her to engage with the world on her own terms, to choose how she shares herself, and to ensure that her energy is not drained by people or situations that do not align with her values. The act of preserving oneself in this way is a form of self-love, a recognition that not everything must be given away. A woman who values herself enough to keep some parts of her being private demonstrates an inner strength that commands respect. She does not need to prove her worth to anyone, for she understands that her worth is inherent. In this understanding she finds freedom. The freedom to live authentically, to love deeply, and to pursue her dreams without compromise. The balance between loving yourself and loving others is the balance between the freedom to live authentically, to love deeply, and to pursue her dreams without compromise. In a world that often equates visibility with value, the decision to hide certain aspects of oneself can be a radical act of empowerment. It is a reminder that mystery is not a weakness but a strength, that the most profound truths are often found in what is not immediately visible. A woman who embraces this philosophy becomes a force of nature, a being of depth and complexity, unafraid to hold some things back, so that she might give more meaningfully to the people and causes that truly matter to her. In this delicate balance of openness and restraint, she finds her greatest power. She becomes the keeper of her own soul, the guardian of her dreams, and the architect of her destiny. And in doing so, she reminds us all that to preserve the sacredness of life is to honor its infinite potential. In every human connection there exists an unspoken understanding of boundaries, lines that are not meant to restrict but to honor the space each individual needs to thrive. For a woman, the preservation of certain aspects of herself is not an act of secrecy or evasion, but an acknowledgement of the sacredness of her inner world. She understands that while relationships thrive on sharing, not everything is meant to be laid bare. Even in conflict with oneself, relationships with others can thrive on sharing. Not everything is meant to be laid bare. There is beauty and strength in what remains hidden, in the parts of her soul that are not up for negotiation or display. This preservation of self is not about creating distance, but about fostering a deeper sense of respect. When a woman chooses to keep certain aspects of herself private, she is not withholding out of fear, but out of wisdom. She recognizes that there is power in discretion, in deciding when and with whom to share her innermost thoughts and feelings. In this way, she cultivates a sense of mystery that is not meant to confuse, but to inspire curiosity and respect. Imagine a garden, lush and vibrant, with sections that are open to the public and others that are closed off, reserved for quiet reflection and growth. The private areas of this garden are not less beautiful. If anything, their exclusivity makes them more cherished. A woman's inner world is much the same. By keeping some parts of herself reserved, she ensures that those who gain access do so with the reverence and care such places deserve. In her interactions, she may share her laughter, her wisdom, and her kindness openly, for these are gifts that enrich the lives of those around her. But her deepest fears, her wildest dreams, and her most profound truths are not for everyone to see. They are treasures she guards not because she is afraid of being vulnerable, but because she values their significance. To share such treasures indiscriminately would be to diminish their worth. There is also a practical wisdom in this. Not every person a woman meets will have the capacity to understand or appreciate the depths of her soul. Some may be well-meaning but lack the sensitivity to handle her vulnerabilities with care. Others may be drawn to her strength, but feel threatened by it when they realize it does not yield to their expectations. By discerning who is worthy of seeing her in her fullness, she protects herself from unnecessary pain and ensures that her energy is invested in relationships that are mutually enriching. And this discernment extends to the way she navigates the world at large. In a society that often encourages oversharing and rewards visibility, it can be tempting to put everything on display in the hope of gaining recognition or approval. But a woman who understands her worth knows that her value does not depend on how much she reveals. She does not need to broadcast her every thought or achievement to prove her significance. She does not need to broadcast her every thought or achievement to prove her significance. And instead she chooses to let her actions speak for themselves, to let her presence be felt without the need for constant explanation. Her silence when it comes is not an absence but a presence in itself. It is a reminder that some things are best understood through intuition rather than words. Her quiet confidence creates an aura of strength that draws people in, not because she is withholding, but because she embodies the balance between openness and restraint. This balance is not a compromise, it is a deliberate choice, a way of living that honors both herself and those she interacts with. To live this way requires a deep sense of self-awareness. A woman must know herself well enough to recognize what she values most and what she is willing to share. She must be attuned to her own needs and boundaries, understanding that self-preservation is not selfishness, but an act of love, both for herself and for the people who truly matter in her life. And so she moves through the world with a quiet strength, unafraid to be herself, yet wise enough to know that not everyone deserves to see her fully. She becomes like the moon, offering her light generously but keeping parts of herself hidden in shadow. In doing so, she reminds us all that life's greatest mysteries are not meant to be solved, but cherished, that the most profound truths are found in the spaces between what is shared and what is kept. Through her example, we learn the value of holding something back, not out of fear, but out of reverence. We see that true connection is not about complete transparency, but about mutual respect, about understanding that the most meaningful relationships are built on a foundation of trust, curiosity, and shared discovery. And in this realization, we come to appreciate the beauty of what is hidden, the power of what is preserved, and the infinite potential of what remains unseen. Life is a delicate interplay of what is revealed and what is concealed, much like the dance of light and shadow across a landscape. For a woman, understanding this balance is not just an art, but a profound wisdom that shapes how she navigates her relationships, her dreams, and her sense of self. In a world that often demands everything at once, her time, her energy, her vulnerability, she learns that not everything must be given. Some things are sacred, and their value lies in their quiet preservation. In this understanding, she recognizes the importance of boundaries, not as walls to keep people out, but as thresholds that invite the right ones in. These boundaries are not rigid, they are fluid, shaped by her evolving sense of self and her understanding of others. To hold something back is not to withhold love or connection, but to honor the parts of herself that are too precious to be shared casually. In some cases, it may be she knows that the deepest parts of her being deserve to be witnessed by those who approach with care, patience, and respect. There is a profound strength in this approach to life, a strength that does not seek validation from the outside world. A woman who chooses what to share and what to keep hidden embodies a quiet power that speaks louder than any declaration. Her strength is not in proving her worth, but in living it. She moves with confidence, unafraid of judgment, because she knows that her essence cannot be diminished by the opinions of others. This strength extends to the way she dreams, for her aspirations are not merely goals to achieve, but reflections of her soul's deepest desires. Her dreams are the seeds of her potential, planted in the fertile soil of her imagination and nurtured by her determination. Yet she understands that these seeds must be protected in their early stages. A dream shared too soon can be vulnerable to doubt and criticism, much like a delicate plant exposed to harsh winds before it has taken root. By guarding her dreams, she gives them the time and space they need to grow strong and resilient. When she does choose to share her dreams, it is with intention and clarity. She reveals them not to seek approval, but to invite collaboration and support. In doing so, she aligns her dreams with her strength, creating a force that propels her forward without compromising her authenticity. Her dreams, like her strength, are an extension of who she is, a reflection of her courage, her creativity, and her unwavering belief in her ability to create the life she envisions. But it is not just her strength or her dreams that she protects. It is also her vulnerabilities. These are the tender, raw parts of her being that make her human, that connect her to others in profound and meaningful ways. Yet she understands that not everyone is equipped to hold these vulnerabilities with care. To share them indiscriminately is to risk exposing herself to harm, to misunderstanding, or to the indifference of those who cannot appreciate their significance. By choosing when and with whom to share her vulnerabilities, she exercises a form of self-love that is both powerful and necessary. She does not see her vulnerabilities as weaknesses, but as treasures, pieces of her soul that deserve to be handled with reverence. And when she does share them, it is an act of trust, a gift that deepens her connections with those who have earned her faith. In all of this, she becomes a living embodiment of balance, a harmony between openness and restraint, between giving and preserving. She teaches those around her that the truest connections are not built on full transparency, but on mutual respect and understanding. She reminds us that there is beauty in mystery, that some parts of ourselves are meant to remain unseen, not because they are unworthy, but because their value lies in their sacredness. Through her example, she shows that life is not about revealing everything all at once, but about unfolding layer by layer as trust and love deepen. She moves through the world with grace and intention, a beacon of quiet strength and infinite potential. In her we see the power of what is hidden, the resilience of what is preserved, and the beauty of a life lived with purpose and care. She is a reminder that to honor oneself is to honor life itself, in all its complexity and wonder. Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a dance to be experienced? Too often we clutch tightly to the reins, desperately trying to control every moment, believing that only our effort can ensure things work out. But consider this: what if everything, absolutely everything, already works out perfectly? Not because of your control, but because of the natural flow of life itself. To act as if everything always works out for you is not mere optimism. It is an art, a philosophy of surrendering to the rhythm of existence, trusting in the profound intelligence of life, and allowing your perceptions to shape a world of harmony and fulfillment. Let us explore together how this mindset transforms not only how you view the world, but how the world, in turn, responds to you. Life, at its essence, is a flowing dance, a rhythm that invites us to move in harmony with its beat. Yet, so many of us approach it as a complex puzzle, a series of problems to be solved or obstacles to overcome. We grasp, we push, we struggle, believing that our happiness or success depends entirely on our ability to control every twist and turn. But what if that wasn't necessary? What if, instead of fighting against the current, you allowed yourself to move with it, trusting that the river knows where it's going? This is the essence of acting as if everything always works out for you. It's not a passive resignation, but an active participation in the dance of life, guided by a deep trust in its inherent order. Imagine, for a moment, that you're watching a dancer. They don't step onto the floor with the intention of reaching a specific spot or completing a predefined sequence. Instead, they flow, responding to the music, their body moving intuitively, creating beauty in every moment. Life invites us to do the same. When we act as if everything always works out, we shift from the rigidity of control to the grace of movement, from fear to trust, from resistance to flow. This mindset allows us to see life not as something happening to us, but something happening for us. You see, our perception shapes our experience. When we believe that life is chaotic or unfair, we begin to notice only those moments that confirm that belief. It's as if our minds become attuned to negativity, filtering out the beauty and opportunity that surround us. But when you act as if everything is working out for you, even the challenges start to feel like stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. You begin to see setbacks as setups for something greater, And in doing so, you align your perception with possibility. The world hasn't changed, but your view of it has, and that makes all the difference. This doesn't mean ignoring pain, loss, or difficulty. Life is full of contrasts, joy and sorrow, success and failure, light and shadow. But each of these contrasts is a part of the greater whole, much like the highs and lows of a symphony. Trusting that everything works out doesn't require you to deny the difficult parts of the song. It asks you to embrace them as integral to its beauty. The low notes give depth to the high ones, and the pauses between the beats create the rhythm. By acting as if everything always works out, you're choosing to dance with the entire composition rather than resist it. There is also a deeper intelligence at work in life, one that we often cannot fully comprehend. If you think about the way a seed becomes a tree, or the way the tides rise and fall without anyone directing them, there's a profound order to the universe, a natural unfolding that occurs without force or effort. When you trust this order, you align yourself with something far greater than your individual will. It's like being in a boat carried by a strong current. You could exhaust yourself trying to row against it, or you could let the current carry you, trusting that it knows the way. Acting as if everything works out is choosing to trust the current. Now, this trust isn't about passivity or blind faith. It's about recognizing that while you may not control the ocean, you can learn to navigate it. Your thoughts, your actions, your energy, all these things have the power to influence the reality you experience. When you act with the belief that things will work out, you carry yourself differently. You make decisions with confidence, you approach challenges with resilience, and you invite opportunities that might otherwise pass you by. This is the magic of self-fulfilling realities. By embodying the belief that life is on your side, you create a momentum that brings that belief to life. Consider the times in your own life when things seemed to fall into place unexpectedly. Was it because you meticulously planned every detail, or was it because you allowed space for life to surprise you? Often the most beautiful moments arise when we surrender control and trust the unfolding. Acting as if everything works out isn't about ignoring reality, it's about participating in it with a mindset that sees the potential for good in every situation. So, step into this dance with an open heart. Let go of the need to control every step, and instead trust that the rhythm of life will guide you. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you're not just changing your attitude, you're changing your entire relationship with existence. You're moving in harmony with the music, no longer a spectator but a dancer, fully immersed in the beauty of the moment. And in that state, you'll find that life doesn't just work out, it flows in ways more wondrous than you could have ever imagined. The way we see the world shapes how the world responds to us. Perception is not just a passive observation of reality, it is the lens through which we filter every experience, and this lens colors everything. If you think about two people caught in the rain, one curses the storm, lamenting the inconvenience, while the other dances in the downpour, embracing the spontaneity of the moment. The rain is the same for both, yet their experiences could not be more different. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you begin to shift this lens. You start to see not just the challenges in life, but the hidden gifts they carry. Our default reaction to life's difficulties often stems from a belief that we must struggle to succeed. We are taught to fight, to resist, to force our way through obstacles. But resistance only tightens the knots. Acting as if everything works out isn't about pretending challenges don't exist, it's about meeting them with a different energy. When you shift from resistance to acceptance, from fear to trust, you open yourself to solutions that might otherwise remain hidden. You become more creative, more resourceful, and more attuned to opportunities, because you are no longer trapped in a cycle of fear and doubt. Trust is a powerful force, yet for many it feels elusive, especially in a world that often emphasizes control and certainty. But the truth is, control is an illusion. No one can predict every outcome or dictate every circumstance. What you can control is your response to life. Acting as if everything works out for you is a conscious choice to trust the unfolding of events, even when the path is unclear. It is a choice to believe in the intelligence of life itself, the same intelligence that turns the seasons, grows forests, and orchestrates the intricate balance of existence. Consider the paradox of effort and ease. Imagine trying to hold onto a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you relax your hand, the sand stays effortlessly in your palm. Life operates in much the same way. When you approach it with clenched fists, trying to force outcomes, you often push away the very things you desire. But when you loosen your grip, when you trust in the process and act as if everything is working in your favor, you find that life begins to flow with surprising grace. It's important to remember that trust doesn't mean inaction. On the contrary, it empowers meaningful action. When you act as if everything works out for you, you take steps with confidence, not because you know exactly how things will unfold, but because you trust in the journey. This mindset fuels resilience. Instead of being paralyzed by fear of failure, you are willing to try, to risk, to dream, because you believe that even if things don't go as planned, they are still part of a larger picture. You see failure not as the end, but as a necessary step toward growth. Think of a gardener planting seeds. They dig, they sow, they water, and then they wait. They don't dig up the seeds every day to check if they are growing. They trust the process. Acting as if everything works out for you is much the same. You plant your intentions, you nurture your efforts, and then you let life take its course. Some seeds will sprout, others may not. But even the seeds that don't grow contribute to the richness of the soil, preparing it for future planting. This mindset is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It's about aligning your energy with possibility. When you believe that life is conspiring in your favor, you radiate a confidence that attracts opportunities. You start to notice connections you hadn't seen before, and you begin to move through life with a sense of ease and grace. Acting as if everything always works out for you doesn't change the external world, it changes your relationship with it, and that shift creates a ripple effect that transforms everything. In this state of trust, you find yourself more present, more attuned to the beauty of each moment. You are no longer waiting for life to deliver the perfect conditions before you feel peace or joy. Instead, you realize that the peace and joy you seek are available to you right now, in this very moment, simply by choosing to believe that all is well. And as you embrace this belief, you'll discover that life in its infinite wisdom has been waiting all along for you to let go and dance with it as spur. When we trust in the flow of life, we often find that things have a way of aligning themselves in ways we could never have orchestrated. Acting as if everything always works out for you is not a denial of life's complexities or difficulties. It's an acknowledgement that those very complexities are part of a greater unfolding. The universe is vast and intricate, and while we may not always understand the reasons behind every twist and turn, there is an inherent intelligence at work, a rhythm that guides everything toward balance. Trusting in this rhythm transforms the way we engage with the world. It softens the edges of uncertainty, allowing us to step forward with curiosity instead of fear. One of the most profound shifts that occur when you act as if everything works out is the way you interpret challenges. Often when we encounter obstacles, we perceive them as roadblocks, evidence that life is against us. But what if those very obstacles were the stepping stones we needed? Think about a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. In the chrysalis, it must completely dissolve into a state of chaos before it emerges with wings. To an outsider, that process might seem destructive, even catastrophic, but it is an essential part of the transformation. Similarly, the challenges we face often carry within them the seeds of our growth. By trusting that everything works out, we can embrace these moments as opportunities for transformation, even when they are difficult or uncomfortable. This mindset is not about passivity or complacency. It's about choosing how you show up in the face of uncertainty. Life will always present us with unknowns. The future is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of planning can guarantee specific outcomes. Acting as if everything works out invites us to approach this uncertainty with a sense of adventure rather than dread. Instead of fearing what might go wrong, we begin to anticipate what might go right. This subtle shift in perspective changes everything. It doesn't erase challenges, but it equips us to meet them with resilience, creativity, and an open heart. When you believe that life is working in your favor, even setbacks become less daunting. Imagine a sailor navigating rough seas. They cannot control the waves, but they trust their ability to adjust the sails and stay on course. This trust allows them to keep moving forward, even in the midst of the storm. Similarly, when you act as if everything works out, you navigate life's uncertainties with a calm confidence. You know that while you may not be able to control every wave, you can always adjust your sails, and the journey will ultimately lead you to where you need to be. Another remarkable aspect of this mindset is the freedom it brings. So much of our stress and anxiety comes from clinging to specific outcomes, from trying to force life into a narrow framework of what we think it should be. But when you trust that everything works out, you let go of that need for control. You become more open to the unexpected, more willing to explore paths you hadn't considered. This openness creates space for life to surprise you, often in ways that are far more beautiful and fulfilling than anything you could have planned. Consider how this applies to relationships. When you trust that things will work out, you approach others with authenticity and generosity. You are less guarded, less fearful of rejection or conflict, because you know that whatever happens, it is part of the unfolding. This trust allows for deeper connections because it frees you from the need to control how others perceive you. You begin to show up fully without pretense, and this authenticity invites the same from others. The magic of acting as if everything works out is that it becomes a self-fulfilling reality. When you carry yourself with the belief that life is on your side, you project confidence, optimism, and ease. This energy draws people and opportunities to you. It's not a matter of pretending or forcing positivity. It's a genuine alignment with the flow of life. The more you trust in this flow, the more you notice synchronicities and serendipitous moments that seem to confirm your belief that everything is working out. Ultimately, this mindset is about freedom, connection, and joy. It's about releasing the heavy burden of needing to control every detail and instead embracing the adventure of life. It's about trusting that even when the path seems unclear, you are being guided towards something meaningful. And in that trust, you find peace not because you have all the answers, but because you no longer need them. You know that life in its infinite wisdom is carrying you exactly where you are meant to go. And that is more than enough. Acting as if everything always works out for you is not a superficial optimism. It is a profound shift in how you engage with life. It's about stepping into the unknown with faith, not as a denial of uncertainty, but as an embrace of it. Life is inherently uncertain, filled with twists, turns, and surprises that we cannot predict or control. Yet within that uncertainty lies an invitation to trust, to let go of fear, and to move forward with a sense of wonder. This is not about avoiding challenges, but about meeting them with a different energy, one rooted in the belief that every moment is part of a greater unfolding. Consider for a moment how often we resist the flow of life. We get attached to specific outcomes, plans, or expectations, and when things don't go as we envisioned, we feel disappointed or even defeated. This resistance creates friction, a kind of inner turbulence that drains our energy and clouds our perspective. Acting as if everything works out for you is a way of releasing that resistance. It's not about giving up on your goals or desires, but about holding them lightly, allowing room for life to surprise you. Sometimes what seems like a detour or delay is actually a redirection towards something far better than you could have imagined. When you adopt this mindset, you begin to see setbacks differently. What once felt like failure becomes an opportunity for growth or a chance to recalibrate. You realize that the very things you thought were obstacles may actually be the stepping stones leading you to where you need to go. Think of a river carving its way through rock. It doesn't resist the stone, it flows around it, finding new pathways and over time shaping the very landscape. When you trust that everything works out, you become like that river, adaptable, resilient, and ever moving forward, no matter what obstacles arise. This way of being also has a profound impact on how you experience time. So often we are caught up in the past or the future, worrying about what could have been or what might happen next. But acting as if everything works out pulls you into the present moment. It invites you to fully engage with what is happening right now, to see the beauty and opportunity in each moment rather than rushing through it in search of some imagined destination. When you are present, you open yourself to the richness of life as it unfolds, and that presence has a way of drawing more joy and fulfillment into your experience. Another important aspect of this mindset is the freedom it brings. When you trust that life is on your side, you no longer feel the need to micromanage every detail or control every outcome. This doesn't mean you stop caring or striving, it means you approach your efforts with a sense of ease rather than desperation. You take inspired action knowing that the results are not entirely up to you, and that's okay. This freedom allows you to take risks, to step out of your comfort zone, and to embrace opportunities that you might have otherwise avoided out of fear. And what happens when you act with this kind of trust? You begin to see evidence of it everywhere. A conversation with a stranger leads to an unexpected opportunity. A seemingly random decision turns out to be exactly what you needed. Synchronicities and coincidences appear, not because the world has suddenly changed, but because your perspective has. By acting as if everything works out, you align yourself with the flow of life, and in that alignment, things often do work out in ways that feel almost magical. This isn't to say that life will always be easy or free of challenges. Pain, loss, and uncertainty are part of the human experience. But when you act as if everything works out, you approach these moments with a different mindset. You recognize that even in difficulty there is meaning and growth. You trust that the struggles you face are not permanent roadblocks, but temporary experiences that will eventually lead to something greater. This trust doesn't eliminate the pain, but it gives you the strength to move through it with grace. Ultimately, this way of living transforms your relationship with yourself and the world around you. You become more open, more courageous, and more at peace. You stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens for you. Each moment, each experience, each twist and turn becomes part of a larger story, one that you may not fully understand in the moment, but that you can trust is unfolding exactly as it should. And in that trust, you find a profound sense of freedom and joy, knowing that no matter what comes, life is always working out for you. When you begin to live as if everything always works out for you, life takes on a different quality, a sense of lightness, ease, and even joy. It's not because your circumstances magically transform overnight, but because you transform. Your perspective shifts, and with it, the way you engage with the world. This shift isn't about denying reality or pretending that difficulties don't exist. It's about meeting reality with a sense of trust and curiosity. It's about believing that, no matter what happens, there is a deeper purpose at play, one that is ultimately guiding you toward growth, understanding, and fulfillment. One of the most liberating aspects of this mindset is how it changes your relationship with fear. Fear often arises when we believe that things will not work out, that we will fail, or that we will be left to face an uncertain future alone. Acting as if everything works out doesn't eliminate fear, but it helps you see it in a new light. Instead of letting fear paralyze you, you begin to see it as a natural response to stepping into the unknown. You acknowledge it, but you don't let it dictate your actions. You take a step forward anyway, trusting that the path will reveal itself as you go. This trust allows you to become more resilient. Life, as we know, is unpredictable. Plans fall apart, relationships change, opportunities come and go. But when you trust that everything works out, you no longer see these shifts as threats. Instead, you see them as part of the natural ebb and flow of existence. You understand that when one door closes, another opens, and sometimes the closed door leads you to something far better than you could have imagined. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship, it's about moving through it with the belief that something meaningful lies on the other side. Acting as if everything works out also deepens your sense of gratitude. When you trust in life's unfolding, you become more attuned to the gifts that each moment offers. You start to notice the small joys, a kind word, a beautiful sunset, a moment of connection with a loved one that might otherwise go overlooked. Gratitude becomes your default state, not because everything is perfect, but because you see perfection in the imperfection. This gratitude doesn't just make you feel good, it creates a positive feedback loop. The more grateful you are, the more you notice things to be grateful for, and this, in turn, reinforces your belief that life is working out for you. This way of being also impacts your relationships. When you act as if everything works out, you approach others with a sense of generosity and openness. You are less likely to cling to control or harbor unrealistic expectations because you trust that relationships, like life itself, have their own rhythm. This trust allows you to show up authentically, to listen deeply, and to give without expecting anything in return. Relationships flourish in this environment because they are no longer burdened by fear or control. Instead, they become spaces of mutual support, understanding, and growth. The beauty of this mindset is that it is self-sustaining. The more you act as if everything works out, the more evidence you find to support that belief. You begin to notice the ways in which life seems to align in your favor, the opportunities that arise at just the right time, the solutions that present themselves when you least expect them, the people who show up to help you along the way. These moments are not coincidences, they are reflections of the energy you are putting out into the world. When you trust life, life responds in kind. And what happens when things don't go as you hoped? This is the true test of acting as if everything works out. It's easy to trust when everything is going smoothly. But what about when the road gets rough? In these moments, the mindset becomes even more important. You remind yourself that setbacks are temporary, that even the darkest nights eventually give way to dawn. You look for the lessons, the growth, the opportunities hidden within the challenge. This doesn't mean you won't feel pain or disappointment. It means you trust that these feelings are part of the process, and that they too will pass. At its core, acting as if everything always works out for you is about living in alignment with life's natural flow. It's about embracing uncertainty with courage, meeting challenges with grace, and savoring each moment with gratitude. It's about letting go of the need to control every detail and instead trusting in the wisdom of the journey. This trust doesn't make life perfect, but it does make life beautiful. It allows you to move through the world with a sense of freedom, knowing that no matter what happens, you are exactly where you are meant to be. In this way, life becomes not a series of problems to be solved, but a story to be lived, a dance to be enjoyed, a journey to be savored. And as you move through this journey, you realize that the very act of trusting, of believing that everything works out, is what makes it so. Life meets you where you are, and when you trust it, it opens doors you didn't even know existed. And so, step forward with faith, with courage, and with an open heart. Everything is always working out for you, sometimes in ways you can see, and sometimes in ways that will only reveal themselves in time.